Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Five Guys on Live. We are ready to go. We have a full lineup of topics, pretty heavy week to delve into. So, starting off, those of you who are watching, let us know who you are and where you're coming in from, and let us know your thoughts. Gentlemen, let's start right off the bat with our very first big topic of the night, and that is the situation involving the school shooting in Michigan that involves this young man, Ethan Crumbly. Ethan Crumbly, everybody. This is his picture. This is a young man. These are the images on the left. We have this young man's actual mugshot. On the right, you have the picture from the media that they originally launched to tell the story. This young man went into school, shot and killed 4 people. The videos from the young people impacted were harrowing, if nothing else. We were able to see one class escape out when this young man went to the door pretending to be the actual sheriff's deputy, trying to get into that classroom to massacre more children. It's a really heartbreaking situation that has become even more compounded by the possible role that his parents played in enabling him. Gentlemen, before I say anything else, and to our viewers, what do you think about the Ethan Crumbly situation in Michigan?
I mean, I think it's terrible. And especially like since recently, seems like it's been an uptick in more and more gun violence, especially within the schools and young kids. And so I'm glad, and I hope we talk more about this, that these parents are being held liable because of them knowing and being implicit in the whole act to me. And so it's just sad that students and kids can't just go to school and learn, but have to deal with this on a daily basis and struggle in fear of who might shoot them or kill them. And it's just disappointing.
Yeah, we're continuously seeing this time and time again. Like this is now, I hate the fact that this is becoming a norm. And it's bothering me. First and foremost, you already know how I feel about this whole concept of making sure that they gave us picture number 2. And whenever it's obviously a black kid or a black individual who is ultimately in this predicament, they're always finding the worst. They're trying to find, them. They go through their social media and try to find the worst picture possible. And so, we already talk about how, and again, this is in these moments where, again, I hate to say this, but you give leverage to people like a Donald Trump and others who always had issues with the media. Now you're giving, again, these are those moments where you give them a talking point. But even in this case, there's even something that has happened as early as to the last day or two in South Fulton, where an 8th grader, young girl, was on a bus actually beating up and fighting a 6th grade young man. He was doing the whole thing where he wasn't gonna, he was trying his best to, I'm not going to hit her, everything else. Then she turned around and said she's going to bring a gun to kill him, And so these are the things that are happening in these schools and in these, it's like, how do we have, beyond all the gun violence and everything, how do we have these real conversations about these children and the issues that they're having in these schools? So it goes beyond even the gun issues, even the gun violence. Is we are having these kids are really having major issues in these environments, and we have to figure out how we combat it.
Yeah, definitely. I know for me, like being in the classroom, it was disheartening to have at the beginning of the year. When I was in school, we had our fire drills, we had our tornado drills. Those were the things that we went into, the hallway to do, or evacuating the building in case there's a fire. But to have children piling up in bathrooms and hiding, behind desks and in closets because of the possibility of an active shooter, that's not something that children should have to even be preparing for. But the fact that this has become such a prevalent issue is the reality that a lot of educators and students are facing around the nation, if not the world. And so there definitely needs to be more, a greater focus on gun control in general, but specifically in figuring out how do we keep people from even coming into the school with a gun in the first place. So there's a lot of accountability that needs to be had with the child, with the parents, and also with the way that districts are handling weapons and making sure that things like this don't happen as often as they do.
So Darius, do you think, and I know it was a past topic before, educators should be armed?
No, I don't, because then what
I'm almost to that point.
But what becomes the implication is that an educator is now going to be responsible for killing someone, you know. And I know that is in defense of the students or of themselves, but I don't want to be in a classroom with a gun talking about, in the event that somebody break into this school, I'm going to shoot them, or in the event that one of my students has a gun, I'm going to shoot them. Like, no, that does not need to be.
And that's not the educator's job. Exactly. It is not the educator's job to protect the children in this classroom from their peer who has decided to become a murderer. That's not the educator's job. That's not the functionality of teachers. And the reality is, like, in a situation like this, you know, it is unfortunate what happened. What this young man did. Full responsibility and culpability lies on the young man, but there's also responsibility that lies on the part of not only this young man, but his parents, as well as the school system. I'm really excited to hear and see that these parents are being held accountable, at least if nothing else for the moment. It may not go far. It may not result in charges. I hope it does. I hope it results in conviction. But at least we have a situation finally.
St. Benedict's Episcopal School. Dr. David Perdue is...
I'm sorry, that was my news article. My apologies.
So at least finally we have a situation where, you know, the parents of the young man they've also been arrested. This is something that probably should have been happening all along, because in this unique situation, these parents bought the gun for this young man on a Black Friday sale, gave the gun to him as a Christmas present or gift of some sort, and literally told him to not get caught after text messages in exchange had been seen by a teacher in the school. Not only are these parents responsible, but the school system bears liability as well. And I'm sorry to say, and I hate to say it, but more should have been done in this case of this young man to stop him from doing what he did, because the school knew. There had been the teacher informed, administration, the students were on alert. There were students who literally did not go to school on the day that this shooting happened because they were forewarned about that there was the threat of a school shooting. So this is a situation that to me is very cut and dry, that some educators to lose their jobs and their licenses, as well as some parents to go to jail. Absolutely no question about it, in my opinion, from my perspective.
So you're saying the educators, not the educators, but the school is at fault solely because when they found out about the ammunition that he was looking to buy, his mom said, just don't get caught, but they didn't send him home. And so is that the school's responsibility that these alleged or these issues?
Yeah, Zach, the fact that students in this school knew that a school shooting was threatened indicates that this school did not do their due diligence in checking students. When you have the possibility of violence happening in a school, it is the leadership's responsibility to put that school in appropriate lockdown precautions and procedures. They should have been doing screenings at the door. They should have been checking those bags of those students, and because that's the response. That is who is responsible for protecting the children. This young man should never have been allowed to enter into a building with a gun. That's the problem. And look at what happened when he did. The lives of 4 young people have been lost and will never be regained. 4 families are now getting ready to enter into the holiday season to celebrate Christmas without their children because of what this young man and his family decided to do. I have absolutely no sympathy for them at this point. None whatsoever. Ethan Crumbly looks like he needed help. When you talk about the photo, I look at this right here. He looked like he needed help when he was a little kid. He needed some help that maybe he didn't get. But nonetheless, this shouldn't have happened. And it's heartbreaking to me. It's heartbreaking. And it's inexcusable.
And Zach Thomas, in going to that continuously, when you look at any type of situation that, as an administrator that comes into that building, if for any particular reason, like for instance, let's say something is happening, a child is being abused in that school. If a child's being abused in that school and we don't say anything about it and we've heard about it, it's actually, if we find out anything, we're actually supposed to contact DFACS or contact social services.
Mandated reporters.
You're supposed to make a report.
Mandated reporters.
And that has to be done. So immediately, administrators, even if they think it's precautionary measures, even if they don't think it's serious, we're responsible, technically by law, to make make some type of notice and so yes, I'm fully in agreement with Zach on this one, where is the school truly did a disservice about not making sure that they did not provide those, not at least move quicker than they did.
And Candace said, did our schools have metal? Did any of your schools have metal detectors?
My schools did not have metal detectors. I've always been against metal detectors and heavy police presence in schools because schools should not feel like prisons. However, given the current climate and the way that things are looking, there needs to be some extra safeguards, some precautions in place to prevent this from happening. It's happening every week at this point. Almost every week we get on here and we talk about another school shooting. When will this shit end? And it's not going to end until schools do a better job of policing what is coming into the building. If that means that students don't need to have backpacks, if that means that there needs to be metal detectors, if that means that there needs to be, school resource officers, something needs to happen in order to ensure that these things don't happen.
To add to that, Darius, I wouldn't say, or just to add my own caveat, I wouldn't say that schools need to be doing a better job of policing. That's a word I wouldn't use. I would say schools do a better job of securing and ensuring a safe environment that's risk-free so that every child can learn. And that is not necessarily done just by having more security guards or armed guards. I'm not saying, I don't believe that's the answer. The real answer comes in the fact that you need to have real counseling happening in schools, but we can't afford to do it. There's not enough of an investment in what really needs to happen. You do need to have strong counseling programs available to students because they actually need that. And if we gave our young people the mental health support they need when they are in school, we are going to have better adults entering into the real world. In addition to having better counseling services provided to students and therapeutic service provided to students, we need to have a bigger and greater focus, not just on social emotional learning, because that's become a buzzword, but authentic relationships around ways of letting all students learn how to respect and learn how to engage. And I won't say that's SEL, but that's a term you could use for that. But that is what needs to happen because this young man felt isolated. He felt alone. There's a lot of heartbreaking things involved with Ethan Crumbly. I would love to have been able to bring him into the greater community, show this young man that he belonged, show him that he was loved. But when you look at what he had to fight in regards to those parents who would arm a 15-year-old with an assault weapon or, a gun, the odds were stacked against him. There's so many elements of this that are tragic. People are going to lose their jobs. Some educators are going to lose their jobs. And you know what? I think Brian Kemp is going to lose his job. Darius, tell us about it.
Well, yes, Brian Kemp is going to lose his job. We just hope that he loses it to the right person. So in the past week, we had two people announce that they are running for governor of the great state of Georgia, one being former Senator David Perdue, and the other being Stacey Abrams. We all know that Stacey Abrams ran for governor in the last election. She lost again. Well, the election was stolen from her by Brian Kemp. But I've been doing research already to see how they're talking, and already David Perdue is doing his radicalizing the Party of Democrats. By saying, I'm running for governor to make sure that Stacey Abrams is never governor of Georgia. We need bold conservatives who will stand up to the woke left not cave to their radical demands. Join me in this fight to stop Stacey and save Georgia. While Stacey Abrams has released a heartwarming video that featured her touring the entire state of Georgia, talking about the great work that she's done with Fair Fight Georgia and her other endeavors. And one thing that really stood out to me was her calling out the farmers in Peach County and also the educators in Sparta, Georgia. And Sparta, Georgia is the town that neighbors my county. So I know that it immediately spoke to me that she would mention cities within the state of Georgia. So I'm wondering, what do you guys think about this race so far? How do you feel that these two will fare? And do you think that Brian Kemp is going to attempt to run again? Let me know what you think.
First off, at this juncture, it's the Republican Party against Stacey Abrams. I want to say that. I don't think it's Brian. It's the Republican Party because of the fact that you can tell right now that there's so much turmoil in the Republican Party because they're trying to figure out who is the best one that can beat her. They don't believe that Brian Kemp is the one. So again, you have at least three. You have three. And what people understand is there are two other people right now who've announced they're running for governor on the GOP side. So there's four of them right now, and there's one of her. You also have to look at the optics. Now, he was just a senator who just lost in an election potentially where he could have gone and ran again for the seat that he just left because of the fact that it just happened a year ago. So obviously, they're realizing that maybe we have to, and what happens is the Republicans are looking at it differently than we're looking at it. I truly do believe that Republicans see that Senate seat potentially as not as beatable or as winnable. And unfortunately, they think that pulling away from that seat is going to help. Unfortunately, they don't have a strong candidate in that regard either. Last thing I want to say is, again, the Democratic Party in this state and across the different states are going to have to really come up with a plan. Again, Republicans at the end of the day play to win. Democrats play to be right. At this juncture, we need to win. It ain't about always you can't be right when you're not at the helm of the game. So, what the Democrats have to do in this juncture is play to win and not just try to be right. Get right when you win. Once you win, then get right and get everything right. But until you win, you ain't got shit to say because you can't do nothing right now. So that's my thing.
You're right. Now, I want to say that this is not going to be as easy of a situation as I think some are making it or wanting it to be for Stacey. I believe, and I'm predicting tonight far in advance, that yes, Stacey Abrams does have a plan. And I do believe that Stacey Abrams is going to be the next and rightful governor of the state of Georgia. But DeAndre is 100% correct in regards to what has to happen to make that occur, which is Democrats have to man up. They have to grow some, they have to develop some intestinal fortitude, and they have got to do what needs to be done and not be like weak as they are on the national level. The Democratic Party on the national level has made a lot of severe missteps, which is the result of bad PR, not having the right people handling media, and just being not focused on 21st century election tactics. That's part of the problem. I don't believe that Stacey Abrams is going to fall victim to those issues. Am I coming across okay? I'm getting another weak signal message. So, I don't believe that Stacey Abrams is going to have those issues. Stacey Abrams isn't Joe Biden. Stacey Abrams isn't, Vice President Harris. Stacey Abrams is going to come with, and she's going to hit these people hard. I mean, really hard. And I think that that's what it's going to take. The issue is, do we have enough swing voters left in this state who are going to be undecided? What hurts us is the unfavorability of the Democratic Party throughout the state as a result of being the people that are in power and the misinformation that is prevalent not only in Georgia, but all across the United States of America about what Democrats are or are not doing. That is my fear. Zach, as someone who lives outside of Georgia, what are your thoughts, if any?
So I worry, and I agree with everyone else said, solely because it feels like we've been here before, or you all have been here before. And And being that Kemp is still in office, and as somebody mentioned about the Attorney General, also at the election commissioner, will it be another stolen election? And so I worry with that. I also worry is, and I'm not there in Georgia, like you said, but is Stacey still in the limelight like she was for those Senate seats and other elections? Is she still as seen as a popular or viable candidate, based off of not being on talk shows and being in the media as much as she was before? So those are just some things that I'm thinking about.
I think she'll be fine. I'm sorry, DeAndre. No, I think that she'll be. I think she'll do fine. I saw a lot of reverence given to her following those that Senate race and following the presidential race. Essentially, people were lauding her more so than Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in some instances. And so one thing about us is that when things are popular in social media, it's easy to jump on the bandwagon. I just hope that we stay on that bandwagon and band our wagons to the polls and make sure that we make this happen for the state of Georgia. But I think that Stacey Abrams is definitely a pop culture icon in this moment. So I hope that she's able to use that status to secure this seat.
Do people in Georgia care about her as a pop culture icon? Does that help her or does that hurt her?
It helps her with the right people, for the voters that we need to get out, for people who might not have regularly been interested in the voting process to begin with, or people who felt, discouraged and have voter apathy and things like that. I feel that when we're able to excite people in a way that makes it relevant to millennials and younger, then that's when we see situations like, getting Warnock and Ossoff into office. So I'm hoping that that same energy will excite the people.
Or we could just simply have T.I. and Isaac Hayes III and a number of other people create rumors that Brian Kemp is going to shut down all the nightclubs and liquor stores, and let's see if that's going to
Well, I don't know about all that.
Alicia is pressed too, and rightfully so. She is pressed.
But I will say though, and this is what we have to be very careful about here in Georgia, that Virginia even went through, is that at the end of the day, what we have to be mindful is that Terry, the reason why Terry lost is because Terry and the Democrats took the Democratic vote for granted. And what the Democrats cannot do in this next election in 22, that's across the board in Congress, that's in Senate, so it's House, Senate, that's in gubernatorial races, whatever case may be. They cannot take the black vote for granted, but they can't take the Democratic vote for granted, and as if they're just going to come vote and everything else. That goes back to the conversation that Republicans play to win. Democrats play to be right. And that's what happened in Virginia, because they took for granted that was going to happen, and they slept on that Republican, and so now they have a Republican governor. As long as we continue to make sure that we're doing our part to support Stacey, we can't be out here talking one thing and then speaking against her, speaking about what she is and isn't doing the next. Now, mind you, let's be very clear. I've been on here. I've told you I may have my my quirks or my issues as pertains to what she has done in office, but at the end of the day, for the common good, we all have to be unified in our approach. And if that means that I need to shut my mouth so that we can make sure that she gets in, then that's what I need to do. But that's the problem that we don't have. You can see Republicans are fighting all day, but when it comes to them standing and banding together, at the end of the day, Republicans are going to band together. We right now, the only ones, it's the progressives here, it's the moderate here, it's the conservative here, it's the black here, it's the white here. We're the only ones beating ourselves. Republicans like, go ahead, y'all do y'all business, and we still gonna win.
I agree 100%. While we're talking about Stacey Abrams having a chance to win in Georgia, does Mehmet Oz have a chance to win in Pennsylvania? Dr. Oz, let me pull up. I disconnected. Hold on. Let me pull him up so you guys can see. That's him. Look at Dr.
Oz. Looking bad.
Dr. Oz needs to take a seat. I'm just being honest, because people are saying just because you were raised in Pennsylvania, but now you live in New Jersey, you trying to run for Pennsylvania Senate seat. This is just funny, like all around funny.
And Zach, you know it's not good when the staff is saying they're now questioning if they're actually going to stay on to work with the staff members. So that even within itself. But I agree, that works as a whole. Like I ain't really doing it. Somebody told me to do it.
Right.
Y'all know that's Wendy Williams' homeboy.
Used to be Oprah's.
Lydia said he needs to go to the strip club.
I'm weak.
So, it'll be interesting to see if Mehmet Oz is able to secure the Republican nomination. It's going to be, I think, a hard-fought race. But again, in that situation, if he doesn't win, he too will have lost his job.
Now, but I think this also brings up some valid points. Is notoriety and popularity and celebrity is the new political way.
Not in Pennsylvania.
Think about it, Trump. Think about it. Oz. You've had back in the day, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, whatever his name is.
It depends on where you are. That nonsense works in somewhere like California. It works, right? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger was able to be governor of California. Ronald Reagan was able to be governor of California after being a B-list actor. But, your homegirl and friend, Caitlyn Jenner, wasn't able to go anywhere, okay, on her recall efforts. She didn't win anything but maybe some more wrinkle cream. Now, in regards to what's going to happen in the state of Pennsylvania, I have no doubt in my mind that Mehmet Oz, Pennsylvania is a very different place in California. I just don't see celebrity having a major impact for him. And to be honest with you, I don't know to what extent celebrity has a big role to play in the state of Georgia outside of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's a big deal here either. Not in these more rural areas. They don't care.
And I think celebrity only works for the time that they're in. Like for instance, if y'all know Fred Thompson mm-hmm. was in Tennessee. Fred Thompson used to be on Law and Order. Mm-hmm. Jesse Ventura, former wrestler, when he ran, that was something. Al Franken, Jerry Springer, Cincinnati mayor, that was something big. So these individuals, they were for a specific time. The question becomes, have we bypassed that time? And then what aspect of that celebrity are we looking at? Are you an outspoken, outlandish celebrity? And is that what the people need right now? Or are you a more conservative, what we need celebrity? So it's kind of one of those, you have to determine the time and where we're in, and if that will work for you.
Yeah, because I know people are talking about The Rock needs to run for president. And so I'm just seeing if celebrity is what people want.
But just like Matthew McConaughey, he decided not to run in Texas. Again, he realized it really wasn't worth it. I think who was going to run for mayor of New York? One from Sex and the City.
Oh yeah, Cynthia Nixon.
Yeah.
Cynthia Nixon was going to run, but she backed out of it so that she could film the new season of the Sex and the City reboot. So we definitely consider the role of celebrities. Dr. Oz's show is obviously probably not going to continue. He's also going to lose his job. We'll see if he can get another one. Let's talk, Zach, about the numerous activists who are fighting against the conviction and imprisonment of the young lady, Crystal Kizer, who was had the exact same judge as Kyle Rittenhouse, but did not have the same beneficial justice that many feel Kyle received. Zach, go ahead and tell us about it.
So yes, as we know, in recent weeks, about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, that he was acquitted on all charges for his self-defense. And so now people who are in Kenosha, Wisconsin, are also screaming and chanting the name of Crystal Kizer, who is a Black woman who was sex trafficked and also raped while she was young at 17 years old. And she actually ended up killing her assailant and actually burning his house down. And so she's also claiming self-defense. And so I was trying to bring this to the group and the guys to see, do you think that this will be held at the same level as Kyle Rittenhouse because it's also self-defense. As we know, when blacks claim self-defense, because there's also, I think, a trial that's going to be going on in Georgia with a guy who claimed self-defense against a white guy who he shot. And so do you think we will have the same benefits and the same outcome as a Kyle Rittenhouse?
No. If that's the case, the young lady situation is clear what she was dealing with. You had a situation where she was being sex trafficked and abused by a sexual predator and deviant, yet she's still in prison. So of course it's not going to be the same situation. Of course it's not going to be the same outcome. The American justice system is meant to lock away people like her. And that's exactly what happened. And unfortunately, I'm afraid the exact same thing is going to happen to the young man in South Georgia. It was in Statesboro, Georgia, Bullock County. This young man was with his girlfriend. He said they tried to run him off the road, but his girlfriend refused to corroborate his story. At first, she said what he was saying, but then the community got involved and she changed her mind. She stopped saying it. Probably from some pressure from her community, as she's a young white girl and he's a young black male, but he says that he's mixed. So nonetheless, going back to the central argument, I have nothing but heartbreak around the Kizer story, praying for her, praying for justice, but so thankful that advocates are raising their voices and beating the drums for justice so that she can get more attention in this case.
I think Michael Gravely, who is the district attorney, I believe that he also, just like what's going on in the Ahmaud Arbery, that happened in the Ahmaud Arbery case, I believe that this district attorney, whether it starts with, he should be brought up on charges as well. Why do I say that? Because of the fact that there is information that he knows, and he knows for a fact that they were already investigating this man for child pornography and sex already. And for you to say, okay, well, we still believe it was premeditated because of the fact that we went on her social media and she had a gun and say she'll kill again. Okay, well, I can go and say that, I can't stand this or stand that. That don't mean that's the same how I feel tomorrow. At the end of the day, you can't keep taking something I've said in past and try to correlate it to this very thing just because you believe that it was associated. It wasn't even associated. And when you think about how this situation was, you don't know you don't know the mental capacity of the mental state. You didn't even give her the ability to, I want to say plead insanity, but you didn't even give her the mental capacity to have a mental evaluation done, which could have potentially been another issue in this case. You're trying to say it's premeditated. You don't understand what this girl was going. At the time, she was 16. She was 17 when she shot him, but she was 16 years old when this 33-year-old white man was having her come and have sex. And so you don't think, especially when a 16-year-old's mind is still not all the way developed. So you think that she had the ability for premeditation. Now, mind you, I only went to law school for 1 year, and I can still tell you that still doesn't make sense to me. So you're sitting here with premeditated, but yet you have a person whose mind is not fully developed, and yet you're trying to say that she premeditated and her mental capacity is not sane. I'm not hearing that. And so I say they need to go after the district attorney as well after it's all said and done.
Well, first of all, DeAndre, what degree have you not attempted at this point? It's like,
right.
Dr. This, Dr. That,
because of the fact that I realized that I didn't want to go into, there were certain things in the law I didn't want to go into, and I quit. It wasn't what it was.
But listen to this. So just this idea of premeditation is buying a gun, crossing state line, and saying that, that's premeditation. We're talking about someone who has been abused. This is somebody who has nothing to do with this situation at all, but I'm going to bring my gun in case something pop off. That's premeditated, saying, okay, I'm going to need a gun when I go to this state, to this protest in order to do this. And he did what he did. Someone being abused and then going to end the abuse that she's been going through. If that's premeditated, then what is it going to be? Because I think that as we continue to draw this comparison, it's going to cause this to become a bigger issue and hopefully big enough for the judge to be like, listen, I don't even want to get into what this is gonna look like. Like even the optics alone. I know Vince talks about optics all the time. But the optics of him finding this girl guilty and finding Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty is going to be terrible. So I hope that as they continue to drop this comparison, that the outcome will be different.
You know, here's the situation. I do not see how this is a situation that has resulted and gone this far. This man started to sexually abuse this girl at the age of 16. This man filmed the sexual acts, and those sexual acts with this girl have been seen by authorities. This man preyed on other underage Black girls. That was his victim of choice. And you think about, why was that victim of choice? And to me, you would think perhaps it's because who's going to care? These are young Black girls living in poverty, and no one's going to know. And if they do know, no one's going to care. And unfortunately, the American justice system is proving that this is correct. It's heartbreaking. I do not understand. And now, you know, the counter argument is that she killed him to steal his BMW. This girl was being abused. This girl was being abused.
And she got away in the BMW.
Yeah. So I had to kill you just to get the BMW.
Right. But I think I still worry, because I think this Kyle Rittenhouse case, along with the what was the food that killed oh my God, Florida. The first one that
George Zimmerman,
and this whole self-defense act, or the self-defense law, it scares the hell out of me, because I think now it's giving white people or other people opportunities to kind of claim this self-defense because they felt threatened or felt that they was in imminent danger from somebody or someone. And already, you know, with stereotype threats around Black people, it's harmful. It's dangerous, actually.
At this point, the judge in the case of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery needs to do everybody's case from now on, because clearly he gets it. But again, I think the others that going, and not to prolong it, but going to the conversation you were having about the justice system and how everything is working, I still remember even here in the state of Georgia, we talk about just how debunked the laws are. I remember when my little brother, Gennaro Wilson, was actually in jail because of a sexual act that was actually consensual between two students. But because one father told the daughter, because he found out it was with a Black man, the father made it very clear it's supposed to be about rape. At that time, we had a Black attorney general by the name of Thurber Baker, who had the authority to actually to overturn and actually take him out. It wasn't until some laws changed that benefited another, not us. They were able to then go back and get him out of jail, but that was a couple of years out of this young man's life because of a law that benefited one group and not the other. And so again, you also got to be very careful about the people who look like you, because they may not be your kind either. So you got to be careful about those. Just because they Black or they say they look like you and talk like you, they maybe actually have you be worse than the other people who are supposed to be, I guess, fighting for you. So it's a shame.
You know, hopefully this is going to be a situation where the judge is going to again give an appropriate sentence. Not saying he gave one before, but maybe this time he will. And if not, hopefully he'll lose his job, just like Chris Cuomo.
Whew. Oh, Chrissy.
Chris Cuomo has indeed been fired from CNN. And DeAndre, tell us about it.
Yeah, so Chris Cuomo, they made it announced. Well, originally they had suspended him, and then of course on Saturday they made the announcement that Chris Cuomo, who of course was on CNN at 9 o'clock on Eastern time, and right after, what's the boy? I'm sorry, Black boy. Y'all know the one.
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon, thank you.
I was like,
I couldn't get his name out. Who is the brother of course, the now former governor, Andrew Cuomo. And it was stated that ultimately he was using his platform, using his resources to provide information to his brother. This information kind of came out during an investigation that the Attorney General was actually doing on the governor. And there was some information that came out that then caused an attorney and a private investigation on behalf from CNN to actually go look into what resources that Chris Cuomo was using to assist his brother. Chris Cuomo continued to keep his innocence by stating, "I was never an advisor to my brother. I was a brother. And I was providing, I was doing what I believe was best for my brother. I wasn't being an advisor. I told you all consistently, this is what I did or what did I do." In hours after the firing, all of a sudden there was this lawyer who came out and said that Chris Cuomo had an accuser of sexual assault against him. And there hasn't been much conversation around it just yet, but now all of a sudden now he has an accuser about him saying it was a junior associate who worked him at another station. It wasn't CNN, it was at another news station. So I'm curious about the question, of course, that's been on everybody's mind. Gentlemen, if you know, Darius, you have brothers. I have sisters, but I don't have brothers. You all, Zach, you have a sister who has a birthday today. And you know, and I think you have brothers too, right? Yeah. So you have brothers. Would you do this for your sibling? And would you risk your job at it?
I might be unpopular with this, but I don't think he should have been fired. I honestly don't. I think he was being a brother. I think he was using his resources to gather information, been a journalist as well, to actually help his brother's case. He wasn't an advisor. He was being a brother. I got resources that I can lean on and say, "Oh, what's going on? What's the name of these accused victims, alleged victims?" Then yeah, I'm going to provide it. Like, I'm going to help them out. Like, I'm sorry, I might be in the minority, but I don't think he should have been fired for it.
Today is my beloved sister's birthday. And, you know, I just take a moment, you know, this is as you know, it's a challenging birthday. It's just a tough birthday for her this year. And, you know why. And so, you know, I want to say that, my mother achieved many things in her life with her children. And many of you know many things that I've accomplished and many things that I've done. But I promise you this, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, my mother's greatest accomplishment was raising my sister, Tatsetta, whose birthday is today. She is the kindest person that I know, and the love and commitment that she showed my mother in the final months of her life will forever hold me in her debt. I will never be able to repay her for the way that she loved my mother and treated her. So I wish her nothing but the best of birthdays. And despite that being said, I would not do for her what Chris Cuomo did for his brother, because it is not appropriate. There's nothing wrong with Chris Cuomo wanting his brother to be found free. There is nothing wrong with Chris Cuomo giving advice to his brother that did not involve illegally obtained information or unethically obtained information from his press credits. You cannot mix your job and the perks or the benefits or any of the things that come with that involved with your family life and business. That's when it becomes unethical. When you do that, you place the entire credibility of the press at risk. CNN had no choice but to let him go, and I'm thankful that they did it. Now, I stopped watching CNN already. There's no Angela Rye on CNN. There are no strong black commentators from back in the day on CNN. But yet you kept a number of white commentators who were highly controversial for a lot longer. So CNN has been cut in my book. I don't watch Chris Cuomo. I don't watch Don Lemon. I watch MSNBC. When they mess up, I'm going to cut them off too. But again, all that to say, CNN was justified in doing what they did because they must maintain the credibility of the press at all costs.
Well, I'll just answer too, DeAndre. You know, I'll do anything for my brothers, but I wouldn't have to do this for my brothers because they don't play like that. So in the first place, you know, you need to consider who it is that you're protecting. I'm not caping for anyone who is allegedly, you know, mishandling women or mistreating women. And luckily, we were raised in such a way that that's not something that I would ever have to question, that I'll be somewhere trying to steal information to keep them from being locked up for sexually harassing women or sexually, you know,
whatever. We're gonna all be broke. We're gonna all lose everything together. So then who are you gonna fall back on?
Exactly.
My book deals. Because people gonna want to read about this.
I just on one end, I'm in the sense of I would, you know, I don't want to lose my money. On the other end, I'm with Zach Thomas because I'm like, and I'm kind of where Candy is kind of where Candace is kind of like my thing about it is if I believe that my brother, and if I believe this is not the case, and I'm being just an advisor to him, I believe I'm going to do what I feel is best for my brother, or my sisters for that matter. But I get kind of, and I'm not saying this on this show in general, I get interested when I find these self-righteous people who pick and choose when they will or won't help their family. And I find that funny that some of these people who are out here say, I would never do and yada, yada, yada. But there are certain things that you are willing to do that would get you potentially, you know, I'll go to jail for mine and this and this and everything else. Okay. You know, you fighting and being in the streets and everything is the same as you getting the information and taking your tail to jail too. So I'm just a firm believer that, you know, I believe that you're going to do what you feel is best for your family. And if that means at the moment, you're going to do what you feel is best. And so I find a problem with these people who are all over the place and they get self-righteous, but wait till you get put in that situation. Wait till you're in the front street. Wait till you're in that seat. Will you say the same thing? Will it be the same case? I can't say I will or won't. Right now, I'm looking and saying, you know, I believe I would help. If it comes down to it, I'm sitting in that seat and I'm realizing, you know, this may not be best. I may change my tune, but because I'm not there and I don't know the situation, I can't judge it. But again, the self-righteous people, now they're what pissing me off.
But because
here's the
when
thing.
You look at this situation, right? Andrew Cuomo was accused of inappropriate contact with female staff members. In this situation, okay, because I hate, you can take it. Look at this one situation. Okay, right. If my sister was drowning in a lake and I can't swim, I might still jump in that lake and do all I can and still save her at the risk of losing my life, because that is one type of situation. But in this situation where Andrew Cuomo was accused of inappropriate sexual contact of women, there is no way I would have put myself in a position to lose my job for that. I would have told him, own up to it. I would have told him, step down and resign. And I would have said, I'll give you one of these millions of the 6 that he made, that Alana talked about. And again, when you make $6 million, you spend millions of dollars. I don't know if you're good or not, but nor do I care. I could care less about the financial stability of the Cuomo family.
And I was going to add, it's like we tell the children in school, you know, your parents always tell you, if somebody hits you, to hit them back. At the end of the day, if we're in the school and someone hits you and you hit them back, what's happening? Both of y'all are getting suspended. So just know that your actions always come with consequences. So do what you need to do, but understand that this is the result of your own decision. This is the result of your own making. So at that point, you decided that your brother's name being cleared was more important than being able to provide for your family, that's a decision that you made, and you have to live with the consequences.
I don't think he was thinking of it out of that. I think he was thinking of I'm helping a
He
family
knew it was
member.
unethical.
But I'm not reporting on this on CNN when I get in my chair. I'm not reporting on this. I'm utilizing resources that I have, not with my work, but resources that I have at my disposal to see what's going on behind the scenes, so I could probably help clear up my brother's name because I believe that he is not guilty.
It's like insider trading. If I find out that Apple is working on some massive shit and that the stock is gonna, boom in a few weeks when they announce this, then I go and buy all this stock, or I tell other people to buy all this stock. That's unethical. I know that I'm going to lose my job. He knew that sharing that information was unethical. He knew that. He knew that. And so at the end of the day, all he can do is take a licking and keep on ticking. Maybe he'll get that book deal that you're talking about.
Chad, there are some people who got diplomas and degrees because they were unethical at this juncture. So at this point in juncture, I'm just kind of like, we do, again, I keep saying this, we do what we feel, but I'm repeating what you said. We do what we feel is best for us. If you understand the repercussions, again, where I find my problem, my issue is don't come and be, my word, don't be out here being fickle, don't be out here being fickle. And then all of a sudden now when it's, it's your turn, you backtrack and everything. My thing is, don't be out here being self-righteous. That's my only thing. You all out here being self-righteous as if, you've never done it, there's never been a situation. I just don't. I'm just one of those ones where I would have to find myself in that situation, and I'll have to be willing to take that consequence if it comes to it. Whatever, whether I take it, which means I may be ostracized from my family if I don't do, or I do, and then maybe lose my job. So I have to determine those. I have to make those consequences determinations once I get to that position. But until now, I'm just like, yeah. But I'm with Zach. I'm like, hell, we're having these conversations, and they still gonna make money. They're still gonna get book deals. They're still gonna be fine, and yet we still gonna be here trying to make our millions because we will have.
Just remember, Dr. Pickett, it's only cheating if you get caught.
It's cheating no matter what. It's cheating.
I was like, wait
let's
not open up that can of worms.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Like no matter what, now it's wrong.
Mama told that son don't get
no
caught.
one may know it, but you will know it. You will know it, and not only will you know it, but God too sees and will know it. And
God will forgive you, though. God will forgive you. That's okay.
Again, people are different, and some people are more prone to karmic law than others. I know Zachary Kirk is prone to karmic law. So he continues to do all that he can do to sow good seeds in the world, because if not, he will reap a bitter harvest. And I want beauty for my ashes. I want beauty.
The views of Darius are the views of Darius. We do not believe that cheating is the only way you get caught. We are not. I am not claiming that today. I don't want nobody coming telling me.
I hear you, Darius.
And let me tell you something. You cheat on me. Okay.
Oh wait, I'm not talking about in relationships.
No, you said cheating. No, because cheating is
like
cheating. No,
I'm talking about like on the test, or like
So, in addition to my sister's birthday, we also celebrated on yesterday. Lydia Martin, who's with us, had a birthday. Happy belated birthday, Lydia. And this weekend, I had the amazing opportunity to celebrate the birthday of Annette Smith, who was with us. Happy birthday, Annette. Your party was amazing. I had a great time. With all of that being said, we also celebrate today the birthday of an original Five Guy, the one and the only Vasante Vince Ashton Driver. So all the legality there. Vince has been with the Five Guys on Live since day one. Today, he is out celebrating his birthday. We are happy and proud to wish him a birthday. I want each guy to think for a moment. I'll go first while I'm putting you on the spot. Think for a moment, what is, in your opinion, the best thing you can say about Vince Ashton? And I'll go first. Vince is a serial entrepreneur who creates innovative ideas and sees those ideas through. A prime example is the one and the only It's a Cheesecake ATL. Vince started making cheesecakes last year. Maybe he was making them before then, but I know I bought cheesecakes from Vince when he first announced it's a cheesecake. We had them for the holidays in my family. We got those cheesecakes, and I have seen Vince grow from cheesecake selling online or on Instagram. He didn't even have a website yet, to now being in Lenox Mall, where he sells It's a Cheesecake with and cheese, and he has had other opportunities that have come that we will be seeing and learning more about if it hasn't already aired. So again, happy birthday, Vince Ashton. Next man, take it away.
Well, I haven't known Vince as long as you all have, but I definitely could say that Vince is definitely one who is consistent. Has a great personality. It was great meeting him in person at Zach's birthday gala. Definitely look forward to many more conversations. I haven't had a chance to taste a cheesecake, but I'm looking forward to it in the future.
You want to go, Darius?
Sure. I'll say this. Vince gonna kill me. First of all, Zach just pulled one of his favorite people's lines. He pulled one of Cynthia's line. I'm still getting to know Vince. Did y'all hear that? Anyway, Vince is a true Sagittarius. Vince will cuss you out on Monday, and then he'll just turn around and be so nice to you on Tuesday. So I appreciate Vince for being a genuine person, always standing up for what he believes in, and always being supportive of everything that we have going on. And he is one of the voices that I think we really enjoy to hear from. True to Atlanta. And he is just a great friend. And those cheesecakes are amazing. So check out It's a Cheesecake if you have not already. Happy birthday, Vince.
Yeah. And I have known Vince for a very long time. I remember when Vince was in that townhome, as Zach was saying, making those cheesecakes from the very beginning and getting those cheesecakes in there. But if I had to describe it, I would say I would use a hashtag respect the hustle. Because if you know anything about Vince, Vince has like 11,000 hustles. And he's consistent with those hustles. And he one of the things I love most about Vince is the fact that he literally not only uses his talent, but he tries to find a way to showcase and make someone else's better as well. Like he'll always try to find what someone else is doing and help them, even when he is, trying to do some stuff and building his stuff. Even, he's trying to build his brand. He always try to find a way to help someone else in the process. He really understands that lifting while they're climbing philosophy. And so I'm just happy to know Vince and be able to work with him now and as we have in past. And we are excited to, as Darius said, he is definitely another voice that adds balance. And I do agree. Yes, he will be nice to you and send you a nice ugly text message the next day, and then go back and be nice to you again. So, happy birthday, Vince!
Happy birthday, Vince! We of course are going to continue with our after show on Instagram Live. Zach has some topics, but we're going to definitely talk about Lil Boosie and his Greek extravaganza. And we have a few other really good topics. I know I definitely want to explore with our Instagram audience the Jussie Smollett case.
I got that as a topic.
Definitely been moving forward, as well as the 3-6 Mafia and Bone Thugs in Harmony versus. So we're gonna talk about some of those topics on the Instagram after show. You can go to any of our IG accounts, The Zactivist, I Am Dr. Pickett, King Darius, or Destined to Be Great, to then see us. But now, Darius, give us today's Black History fact as we celebrate Black History 365 days a year.
Yes. Okay. So on this day in Black History, Joseph Rainey was sworn in as the first African-American to serve in the United States House of Representatives. He was born enslaved, and he was the first to preside over the House. He was the longest serving Black lawmaker in Congress during Reconstruction, and he served for more than 8 years in the House, working to pass civil rights legislation, fund public schools, and guarantee equal protection under the law. So tonight's Black History 365 moment is Joseph Rainey. And you are on mute.
Thank you so much. Great time, great time. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We had a great time. We will see you back on next week. And join us now on Instagram Live.